Well, Rangers crashed out of the Europa League in dramatic and controversial fashion. It was an opportunity to make history, but sadly for Steven Gerrard and his men, it was a case of history repeating. Well, Alex Rae is with me now. He's a busy man, he's out and about, but he's joined us to talk about what went wrong and to look ahead to Sunday's clash against rivals Celtic. Alex, there's a lot to unpack here. Can we just start by getting your initial thoughts?
Yeah, obviously last night was a real disappointment, in terms of the football side of things to go out of the competition. They obviously got a 1-1 over in Prague, coming back with a lot of confidence, but they just didn't get going last night. And I think over the two legs, you'd have to say that Slavia were the stronger team. And I think that would be a disappointment for Steven Gerrard.
We did see a different style of play from Rangers last night, though, didn't we? And why do you think that was, Alex?
Well, you have to commend, the Czech outfit. They were tremendous in their play. They were very aggressive. They were a lot more fluent in their passing. And that would be the disappointment for Steven Gerrard. I think there's a realisation as well. You're up against a Slavia team that got to the semi-finals a couple of years ago. So, this is a work in progress. It just looked to me as if they're a little bit more streetwise at times as well. And again, you expect Steven Gerrard going forward that they will learn from this, because that's 2 years in a row. There's been tremendous strides made over the last couple of years in Europe. If you go back to recent years before Steven Gerrard, they were getting knocked out at the qualifying stages. So you look where they're at now, and there's a real disappointment. But with that, there's an air of expectation now around the European campaigns under Steven Gerrard.
The ugly cloud of racism appears again, and obviously there's an official investigation underway. But why, Alex, are we still talking about racism in football?
I'll be honest with you. Once I seen the players' reaction, I knew that something had actually gone on, because I know Glen Kamara as well. I watch him play on a regular basis. He does not strike me as a player that gets involved in anything. And when you seen his reaction, I knew that something was actually said. But as it was unfolding, I felt real uncomfortable about the whole situation, because you then see the captain, Connor Golson, getting involved in it. And then when you see the player coming up and whispering into his ear, it was so sinister. And to run 40 metres to do so. Again, this is only being alleged at the moment, but UEFA have to take a real strong stance in this. We have had a campaign across the whole of Europe to stamp this out in recent months, and we cannot allow it to continue, and that they have to get to the bottom of this.
Well said, Alex. Right, well, on to Sunday. How do Rangers put this behind them mentally? Obviously, there's nothing at stake, but do you think this will have an impact on the lads, psychologically speaking?
To be honest with you, I don't think it will impact it at all, and I'll give you my reasons for that. The Old Firm games take care of themselves. There is actually nothing at stake here other than pride. Rangers want to go through the whole campaign undefeated, and that will be the motivation. If anything, I think last night's incidents will actually bring the squad closer together. And I've been involved in Old Firm games, getting into them with good form, with bad form. But I just feel as if when you look at Rangers over the last couple of visits to Parkhead, they've won comfortable. And I think they'll win with plenty of confidence.
Old Firm ties are always an emotional affair, aren't they, Alex? So, how do you think Celtic are going to approach this? And do you think they'll feel they now have a bit of a psychological advantage here?
No, I think Celtic will approach it as if to say, listen, we need to showcase what we can do. They need something to build on the back of Rangers securing the title a couple of weeks ago. And if I was a Celtic player at the moment, I would be thinking to myself, I really need to go out. I need to prove to the next manager who's coming through the door as well. And we also have to prove to our fans, because it's been such a difficult campaign. So I don't think Celtic go into this in particularly good form, from that aspect.
It is a difficult one to predict. I'm going to ask you to put your neck on the block. What's your prediction?
Yeah, as I said, for me, they went to Parkhead. If you go back a couple of years ago, Celtic were very dominant. I actually see the tide has actually turned. I think Rangers go into this with plenty of confidence, and I expect Rangers to win 2-0.
You're feeling confident. Okay, well, listen, Rangers' unbeaten run in Europe has come to an end. But let's not forget the season that it's been. Lots of players have really shone for the team. But who's your standout? Who's your Rangers player of the season?
Oh, listen, what a difficult question that is. I think there's 3 or 4 guys that are actually stand out. You look at Tavernier's statistics, he's led the team to the championship. Connor Golson's played in every single fixture, whether it be domestic or European. You also have Stephen Davis, who's put in an unbelievable shift, and then you have Alan McGregor in goal. So I'm most certain that one of the player of the years will come from that group of 4 players.
For you, who's your number one?
I'm going to go for Tavernier. I just think he's been the captain, he's been the leader. His stats, I think, it's 17 goals and numerous assists. So for me, from the right back to produce them figures, it would be Tavernier.
And if you were going to distill it down to, one key moment or game in terms of that title win, which one would it be?
I think the last Old Firm game would be pivotal. I think that was the 2nd of January, where Rangers didn't manage a shot on target and managed to secure the 3 points. It was a real turning point. The momentum totally shifted towards Rangers, and from then on, and they haven't looked back.
Thank you very much for joining us, Alex. Always great to have your insights.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure.